becoming clearer that this may be one of the most consequential elections of our lifetimes. Donald Trump and Ted Cruz are pushing a vision for America that's divisive and frankly dangerous.
Hillary Clinton, during her victory speech last night in New York, wasting no time ripping her Republican opponents. You just heard her say she thinks GOP policies are dangerous. So, does this really signal the start of the general election campaign? Let's bring back our panel via Skype from Connecticut. Newsmax TV political analyst Dick Morris, Skyping in from Raleigh, North Carolina, Republican media strategist and ad maker Mark Rotterman, and from Newsmax New York, the co-host of Steele and Ungar on Sirius XM Radio's POTUS channel, Rick Ungar. Rick, let me turn to you first. You have made it clear that you're not a real huge fan of Hillary, but you're a faithful Democrat. During heading into the break, you said, hey, take a look at Hillary and her ability to attract black votes. But I'm just wondering if you take the flip side. Do you envision a way where Donald Trump could beat Hillary? And if so, how would he do it?
Yes. I mean, look, as much as everybody likes to say this is a slam dunk, they've also been saying that Donald Trump could never come close to getting this far, including me, and we were obviously all wrong. He's probably going to be the nominee of his party. Sure, there's a way. Dick Morris has actually laid out the equation really well and really concisely and easy to understand. Hillary has to make Trump the issue. Trump has to make Hillary the issue. Whoever wins this election is going to win by doing the better job of convincing Americans that the other person isn't fit for the job. Nobody's going to win this election based on vote for me, I'm the greatest.
Well, let me turn to Dick Morris. And Dick, you have said that Hillary's many scandals could sink her campaign. And yet, when you take a look at the matchups moving ahead to November, the only Republican she loses to right now is John Kasich. So once it's time for the general election, is it scandal-a-rama trying to remind the voters to sink her campaign?
Yeah, I mean, Sanders has waged an Emily Post well-mannered campaign. He's never mentioned the word Benghazi. He other than saying nobody gives a damn, he hasn't mentioned emails. And while he's attacked her speaking fees, he hasn't drawn the quid pro quo accusations about things like uranium mining with the Russians that you easily could. In the general election, Trump will not be so kind. But I want to make this other point, JD. Throughout Hillary's life, she has always parried attacks by hiding behind the generic. When people were saying that she was corrupt in her dealings at the Rose Law Firm, she said, I could have stayed home and baked cookies and served tea, but I chose to juggle career and family instead. Nobody was accusing her of that. They were saying she took fees from state business. Throughout her whole career, whenever she's been attacked, her answer has been to hide behind the generic. And Trump makes that easy because she can treat an attack by Donald on her as an attack on all women. And that's what she's going to try to do.
Sounds to me like it's more of the gender card than the generic. Mark Rotterman, with your experience as a Republican ad maker, and we've got about a minute left. Hillary as the Democrat nominee, would that present for the GOP, quote, a target-rich environment?
I think it's a target-rich environment. Hillary Care, Obamacare, which is a subset of Hillary Care, her record as Secretary of State, a lot of miles, a lot of frequent flyer traveling, Russian reset, but nothing really was accomplished. And she's backed Barack Obama 100%. And I'll get back to one thing I said about the South. I do not think she'll play in the South. I don't think African Americans are going to turn out for her. So I think there's a wealth of opposition research that can go on the air to hurt her. Dick Morris was involved in a race, the Hunt Helms race here. I think it's going to be very similar to that. And as you know, JD, that was one of the classic races ever, and it was a scorched earth.
And it's worth revisiting, which we will have to do sometimes in terms of political history. But in the here and now, Mark Rotterman in Raleigh, Dick Morris in Connecticut, and Rick Ungar from Newsmax, Washington. Gentlemen, you have our thanks. Up next, Tennessee Congresswoman Diane Black. So stay